Hello again, and welcome, as welcome will be, to Steve's Long Stay Workshop, where things could be looked at for various reasons. This one has a bit of history to it. We like history on this channel, so let's have a bit of local history, shall we? We've got history at any rate. Take the lid off, like that. Put that down there. And look at this machine. This is Elizabethan Escort, and these machines are interesting because they are the decks that Elizabethan used before the BSR decks came along. They're various sizes. The band box is small, the buttons are there, but basically they work in a similar sort of a way, you know. I mean, all tape decks, you know, do the same thing, you know. So yeah. So I don't know what's happened with this. I don't know what's going with it at all. But I'll tell you something about these. It's interesting. If you're a horror film fan like me, then you might have seen a film called The Stanic Rites of Dracula. If you do, guess what Peter Cushing, Dr. Van Helseig, has on its table? Something like this. Yeah. Even with the magic car on the front here, which I'll turn around so you can see. Hang on. Can you see that there? Yeah. So, you know, it's if you're good enough for Van Helseig, it's good enough for us. Van Helseig, by the way, also in the film before it's Dracula AD 1972, he actually had, the corner of his study, a BSR 2000. Never again. If it's good enough for Van Helseig, it is good enough for us. So let's get into it and have a look. With these, first of all, one thing you do get with these quite often is that cable, which is simply not good enough. But we'll put it in like that, and straight away I hear the motor running. And also I can see underneath here that although it's pretty spent, the AM8, whatever it is, AM8 somebody is working, so that's okay. That isn't, okay, fine. Play. Isn't doing very much either. So this deck obviously needs to have some work done to it before we go any further. Now these decks, like I said, these ones that came before the BSRs, this one I think is from about 1959. 2-track, and chances are in its day this was quite the machine. They all were then, you know. I mean, I've got a few, so you know, we can certainly have a look at what's going on here, if anything, you know. I'm a bit concerned that the fact that some of these screws were loose and some others are in the sockets looking rather bad. Not that one, but especially that. If you look, that's going into a rather funny angle of that. So we'll get rid like that. There we go. And now how does it come apart? Does everything come apart, or does I don't know. I really don't know. So does this come off? This come off and the lid come off? Ah, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. it takes a lot of time. Okay, no, not to worry. We can work with that. So we have to get the thing out of its case this way, which we do in these cases. I'm putting the thing on its front like that, and something's fell off. Don't know what that is, but fair enough, yeah. And then when we come forward, here we are. Okay, so we know that it's doing something anyway. So this is the deck here. This is the amp here, and of course, typical sets of this era. I wonder if it's it is two actually. It appears to be okay. Well, maybe not, but that's off there. Okay. Always have a look. 3 motor job, which means actually that it's probably simpler to work on than the 1 motor machines. The well, that's very good. What is it? An ECL82. Okay, fine. We've got those if we need one, and I bet that's an ECC83. I think it is. Yeah, an ECC83. So that can stay in place for now. Okay, and I'll work out how to get this off as well. One there, one there, and the whole lot shall come out. Speaker as well, if I do these here. So what I'll do, I'll just stop the camera and get this thing out of its case, so we can have a good look at it on the bench. And something else will come off it. Another one of those. Okay, well, they're out now anyway, so we'll put them there. We'll put them there, and we'll get all this out of the case and see what is what and what is not, as we say in the trade. And also, with these tape recorders, that cable is way too thin for a unit like this. I mean, you're talking about 3 motors, amplifier, and that. So I always, at some point, look to replace that with something a bit more substantial, because I think that is not good enough. Before we start any repairs, let's have a look and see what we've got inside this thing. 3 motors, of course, on the deck. That's the switch in there for the motors and playback and record. That's there. That's the buttons on the other side. That is off there. You've got hot that as well, and this doesn't seem to be doing anything. So doesn't seem to be moving at all, even though there's no actual. Hang on. Even the motor off doesn't seem to be doing anything like that, and that's got to come off and be changed anyway. So that motor's got to come off. Well, they all have actually, and they've got to be looped at. On the amplifier side, there's 3 hunt capacitors that I can see. Check and see if there's any more. No, there's 4. Sorry, 4. Got to spot them. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of these hunt capacitors, and of course the smoothing cap is on the other side of the board as well. This actually also has one of these as well for the rectifier, which might be okay, might not. At this stage, we don't know. So the next thing we do is decide what comes first, the deck or the amplifier. I think the deck, because the amplifier is first input, the deck probably isn't. So I think first of all that's all okay, as you can hear. So I might give it a good spin, but that's okay. That's okay. And this here, I assume is okay. But I think we'll start by taking this motor off here and have a look inside and see what problems it got, because obviously something got wrong with this motor. So we'll rip it apart and have a look inside. Very similar actually to the deck that's used in the Robuk machines, but not as complicated. This is actually, I think, quite a simple deck. Generally speaking, the ones with the 3 motors, generally speaking, are because we don't have all the actual switching. It's just switching motors on and off. So usually don't have much trouble with these. But obviously, if there's a problem with the motor itself, then that has got to be, shall we say, looked at. And why is that not? I think that one better stay where it is, don't you? And so this one will come off. That is probably to make sure the motor goes back on the right way, because when it's off it can go on either way around. So that is probably to keep it the right way around when the thing is reassembled. That's what I think anyway. It quite an interesting idea, really, that. But yeah. And there's always one that doesn't come, isn't there? There's always one. Always one. I think that is still solid actually, so yes, okay. So I'll have a quick look at that another way and see if we can get it off this way. It'll go now. Well, it should. Oh dear. Always the way. There's always one. By the way, one thing which we don't have over here in things like this is that there isn't the red spider that crawls out inside a valve or something. That seems to be an American thing, that. Unless you know different, of course, you know. If you do, then speak up, because why not? Oh, there we are. It's off. Right. Let's see if it'll come off now. Ready to. That comes off. It comes off there. That comes off there. And it comes off. Okay, fine. Well, let's get rid of that first of all, shall we? Okay, well, that motor smells a bit bad there actually, so I wonder if it's had some into making a new one there. We'll see soon enough. But it seems to be clear, so is it worth trying it, I wonder. I'll get the circuit and have a look at how this is wired. Then we'll see if we can get it to clean up and run for us. But that looks to me as though this had a bit of a rough time after that. Might be okay, might not, we'll have to see. Right, so I've got this motor off now. Interesting is that one of the legs actually goes on the motor to the motor itself for sort of getting the height right, which is quite interesting. I've loosened it now as well, so now if I was to plug this thing in very briefly, you know. By the way, I've taken out the ECL 82 so that there's no problem with the 8+ gauge at all. We can therefore plug this thing in and see what happens to it. I've taken the plug off because unfortunately it won't go through the cabinet when to get the cabinet off. So plug this in and see what happens. Right, now let's see what happens, shall we? That is up like that. It switch to one there, so that should be powered straight away. Hey, it's is good. Right, so that's one thing. That one isn't. What I will do very quickly is do that and see if, and that one's pink as well. So nothing nothing really bad to worry about there, so that's okay. Now before this one goes back in, I'm going to give it a clean and also put a belt in there if I've got one for the counter, which was in this place replaced by a piece of string, so not entirely ideal. With it back in, it goes very quite well actually, that, so it's obviously okay. Right, now then, this resistor here, R26, which goes, I'll get the circuit in a minute, it goes between it goes from the forward motor to the stuff up here, and then it goes down to the capstan motor, and also it goes back to rear motor and here to the stop. So I don't know quite what that's for, but it's 10 watts, and it never gives the same reading twice. So if I was to put the ohmmeter across it, which I'm going to do now, can you see that? Yeah, I think you can. With it off, now switch on, and it seems to be all over the show, does that. So I think it's best out, don't you? So I'll get one and we'll put it in and we'll see what it does. But first of all, I'm going to get this circuit printed off and show you where it is in the circuit, just for completeness' sake. Well, this is part of the circuit here. That lot there, that's the record play switch in there, and this is a bit here. And R26 is this one here, which, as I said, is not entirely right. And it goes to lots of different places, which you can see here. including to Earth. So what it actually is for, I don't really know. But that's what it seems to be anyway. Now the circuit of the tape recorder, and just hang on a sec, I'll bring that up for you. The circuit of the tape recorder, as you can see there, is the standard Elizabethan mixer of ECL 82 and ECC 83 with an EM 8 something rectifier, which is virtually dead. There are things you can do there, which I will try later on, but that's the circuit anyway. Anyway, that in mind, this is the thing in question here. So I'll whip it off. One side's gone already, so the other side shouldn't be too bad. Come on, off you come, off you come. There you are. Not the wire, the resistor. Okay, fair enough. If you're going to do that, I am going to do this. There we are. More the one with the killer cat, isn't there? So that resistor, it obviously got hot. You can see that from the white on it. There you see, and it doesn't give the same reading twice. So that is not much use to man nor beast. So get one of those and put it on. Also, by the way, the switching on this is here. This is record, play, fast forward, rewind switching is here. And there are in fact sparks when I press the buttons on it. So I think we might have a little spray at that as well. So get me spray, and we'll see if we can sort that one out as well. Right, well, with this off, we can look under here, and if I apply power to it with it for it to play, that is not straight, although I can make it straight. That is dirty, but okay. That's 7.5, and that way there's no. It is no. Okay, well. So the speed control needs to be realigned and checked as well. Also, I've noticed with this that these are off here. Whether the eraser still works or not, I don't know. If it does, I'll just put it back in place with some glue and it'll be fine. Actually, I'll just check that very quickly. You know, because well, why not? And see what it reads. Find out if you've got to find it a new head for it. Now, finding replacement head to tape recorders isn't always as bad as you would think, because you find that in most cases you'll find that something will do in its place. So that side's okay, and that side. That side seems to be okay as well. What's that saying? 233 ohms and okay. If so, that looks. I'll assume that's okay for now, although it does seem a little bit high. The other one, of course, is the record playhead, I think, on this, and I say that because if you put this on now and switch it to play again like that, that's not working, by the way. That's probably that just from the back there. It is going not that way, but that way. Some of these early Elizabethan machines did that. They went that way. So you have to I have to be well aware of that, because now that one should be, and it's not doing. That one, by the way, is that the one that I was working on before? No, it's not. Okay, not to worry. But having said that, the motor looks alright. Indeed, they both do. So there, see, that's, it's going the other way. So with these decks, watch out for that, because it can make you look a fool rather quickly. Can that? Just something to look out for there with that one. Anyway, yeah. So if one of these goes to deck and one of them goes on here, like that, that goes to there, and that goes to there. That looks okay as well, because as you raise it is a much more simple thing to look at, because the recording blade records and plays music off the tape. It's got more to it than the eraser, which is just simple on and off. You know, all it does is take what's on the tape before off. Anyway, let's try putting tape on and see what it does. Obviously, yeah, the right way around. Which on this machine is different. So with these machines, the supply spool is on the left, like that. So that goes on the left, and like that. Pull that down. There we are. Actually, I'll wind that in like that. So that now goes like that. And at some point it should go on there and see if that now. It does. Right, okay. It does. Whoa. There we go. Like, wound it up anyway. Not very well, but it's wound it up. So, yeah. So it goes down here like that. Through here like that. And I'll just stop the camera while I do it, because I might swear. You've got to be careful with these, because it goes that way. Not that way, that way. So when you play, it goes that way. But now, of course, there we are. Seems to be okay. By the way, it should be sat down, but I'm using it with it stood up just to see if it works. So don't worry about that, okay? So it should bind this all the way forward. which it appears to be doing. And of course, this way around. There we are. That should now wind it all the way back and off. Now, as far as play is concerned with this not moving at all on playback, all it'll do is spill the tape, which I'll demonstrate presently. See, if we went to playback now, you see. You see, that's not moving at all, that actually, is it? Yeah, it's here, It does, so the playback side needs a little bit of work, which, you know, fair enough, you know, it's not flat on its back, so I'll also attend to that. There we are. So we know from that it's the winds are okay, and there's much problems with the playback side of it, which we can look at now. Basically, it's working, but wants a couple of little tweaks, I think. Now, the speaker on the side of it on playback operates in a rather interesting way, in that it's a bit like a record player. This motor here has on it a spindle with three layers, like a record player, and that of course goes onto this wheel here, the jacket. So basically this lot needs to be taken apart and realigned. But the other part of it here, that I think that if anything needs that stuff that we use to make rubber nice and light again, rubber renew, which I will do now, and then I will leave till tomorrow, because the stuff really stinks and it really is not very nice. I'll warn you once, I'll warn you again. This stuff is terrible, it really is. So use it with care. Rubber renew, by the way, like I said, it's a rather interesting substance. Basically, it contains, among other things, xylene, methyl silicate and acetone. It causes eye irritation, may cause skin irritation, may cause drowsiness, causes respiratory tract irritation, harmful if swallowed, may cause nausea and vomiting, and liver and kidney damage, and may cause metabolic disturbances. Just a thing for the 80s birthday cake, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, but like I said, be careful with the stuff, because it's not terribly nice. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, if I take this motor off, like pull that one completely off, at that point I should be able to get down here, and so I'll take the alignment and also clean this and this down here, which drives the idler and the capstan, which is here, going to have another go at that actually, because it's not quite right yet. So yeah. So anyway, first thing that happens is that I stop and answer my phone. Actually, on that score of taking things apart, like bits apart, basically this will come off this way, because that's where the wire is, and I'll show you underneath the speed control system as well. Again, this is a very basic deck, so it's fairly fairly simple, you know. So there's nothing too bad to deal with here, you know. Unlike certain others, you know. BSR tend to make things as simple as possible, which is nice of them, really. With other companies did the same. Trouble is, I'm looking at you. Yeah, I'll still be having that, waiting to have a new head put on it. They've got a problem there actually, which I think I might possibly have a new interesting answer to actually, but we'll see on that score. Now with this head out of the way, like that, you see there, that is the thing in question there, you see, it's there. So we give that a good clean, and that of course as well, which I can do mostly without taking the rest of this off. I think the speed control varies the height of this, which in turn varies the speed of this thing here. It's a fairly simple system, quite similar to what you get with record players, you know. It's got basically the same sort of thing, but different speeds obviously. Actually, another deck which I don't recommend beginners start on is the Colorado deck. They are horrible. They really are nasty things. I've got a Colorado Studio coming up actually, which that does a 3-motor version as well. And Colorado seem to make things a lot more complicated than they needed to. We get that sometimes with stuff like this, and Colorado were known for it. So if you're starting, don't pick up a Colorado. Pick up something with a TD2 or TD10, because that's the best way to start, I think, or a Phillips if you can handle drive belts have turned to goo. Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. Just see some wonderful things in this game, don't you? Anyway, so I give this a clean here, under here and there. Put this back on, tighten it down. Then of course, from the other side, there's 3 screws which come off, which then I hope allow you to oil the idler as well. So all to come, as it were, all to come. Well, now it works on all 3 speeds. Now I've got all the distances right under here. It works quite well actually. It's slight lack on 1/7/8, but that is something which is due to mechanics of the switch. So I'm going to let that ride for now and see what happens, because other than that it's fine. The resistor goes across there, got one coming, so that'll wait. Now which leaves us to the electronics. Now on these units, of course, they have the rectifier, which is here, passive capacitors, which are going to come out, and some of these which are also going to come out before this thing is put in and used, because So you know, I don't want to run it with these in, because any expert will tell you, these hunt capacitors and these plesses on mains equipment in particular, it's not a good idea to use them, because they are 6 years old and they weren't that good to begin with. So out they have to go. Right, all the hunt capacitors and plesses have been changed on it, and also that resistor has been changed there. So now, if I was to press play on here, this now goes round on play as well, which it didn't before. So we know what that resistor was for now, don't we? So that's okay. Now over here, I've not with the ECL82 outer circuit. It seems to be a rather low. First of all, now when things like this happen, these things here are something like 60 years old, and that is reading 203, 204 volts. I'll just put the meter up so you can see. There we are. Can you that? Yeah, you can. Okay. That is with, so 203 volts. Now, I think coming across from there, it should be a little bit higher than that. So the next thing I'm going to do is get a modern bridge rectifier and put it in there, and then I'll put a speaker on, and we'll see what that's doing. Because if that isn't working, it will pull the HT down. Well, not pull it down. With that in place, it won't be pulled up. The three capacitors in here, and that resistor in between them. And what they do is one is a storage capacitor, a reservoir capacitor, and one is a smoother. They call it smoothing block, but it's both really. And what happens is, the first one, it goes into here as well, and the second one smooths it out. Now in that situation, it should be without that valving rather more than 200 volts. I'm sure it should. And there are no voltages on this, but if I was to try and get ECL82 up on here, which I'll do right now.
Which is one.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if we get the ECL82 up on here, the maximum voltage is 200, so it might be all right. But having said that, in between there's that and there's that before the anode, so the anode should be up somewhat from 200 volts when current flows through that valve. So I'm going to look first of all at that and then that, because that is the first place to go. Now you see, as far as I'm concerned with things like this, the two most common areas which cause problems are customer facing bits, like buttons, or anything which handles power. Anything, even today, the same applies. Anything customer facing or handles power, is that they are the first things to go. That's something you can always remember. Sometimes you don't need a meter, although it's nice to have, but actually very important to have. But you can, when you've been busy as long as I have, you can do a lot based on what you see and what you know. So I'm basing my thoughts on past experiences as well, and the fact that that is about 60 years old, and it's probably lost some value. And these two might be okay, might not, I don't know, but we certainly need to check that as well. In here now, all the capacitors that needed to be changed have been. I've also put in a new rectifier and new smoothers, all of the capacitors as well, so basically best to go. Now also I've checked resistors, as I can tell, all seem to be within spec, so let's see what happens when I give it some power like that. And first thing I'm going to do is get the meter probe like that and see that's okay. That's okay, as I can tell, and the amp circuit is working. Now on this, actually the amplifier circuit on these only works when his play is connected. Now I've taken off that resistor because it got very, very hot and started to smoke. It's 10 watt like the one that was in before, and so there will be one of two things here. One, the switch might be taking too much flow for some reason, which is unlikely, or two, the one that was in was more than 10 watts, and this is being, shall we say, a little bit generous. Anyway, so what I'll do next, I'll put that out, and we'll see from there. By the way, also back of the head. There you go. So as you can see from that, it does actually work right to the head. So this lot, as far as I can tell, is okay. I don't know about record yet, but playback, it seems to be. So obviously, you know, I check the playback first and then record a little bit later on. Also, I need a more a thinner belt for that, so that's something else which we need to sort. So we're slowly getting there with it, but next thing I think will probably be that resistor there, putting more powerful in and seeing if it doesn't smoke, because I don't like stuff that smokes. It's a filthy habit, you know. Bad in humans, worse in tape recorders. As you can see there, I've put in a more powerful resistor. So at the moment it's running quite on playback, with the P-cut spool being given pretty well on the front here, from this motor here. Again, it's only have to be like a take up here, nothing else, so that should be alright. If not, well, I'll think again on that. But it's hot, but it's not actually smoking. It's a lot cooler. So now, because the tape recorder is most of the time in playback or record, I'm going to leave it like that for a bit, going round quite happily, just to make sure that nothing does happen. Because if it does, you know, I'd rather it happen now than when the thing is back together again. Okay, that works okay. So now we're going to have a look at this head on the front here, which is exactly the healthiest head in the world, but we'll see what we can do with it. Yeah, yeah, that could be interesting, couldn't it? Oh well, never mind. I'll see what we've got and I'll see what we can do. That is the record playback header to this machine, and there's only one lead coming out of it. Don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but the other one doesn't appear to be there. So what I'm going to do with this now is take it apart and see if I can get the other leader. If I can, then this should have about 200 or 300 ohms across the two. If not, then it's another one waiting for a new head. But that's the next thing we've got to do, is to sort this out. This is the, like I said, this is a record play head. This is the one which does all the work. It does most of everything here, and the coils are here, you see. But I need to know that both of them are working fine. So and it's there, okay, fine. And interrupt, that's working okay. So that's the next step. One thing about this sort of game is that you have to think very carefully about what you do, and you have to be able to think outside the box. The head it had before was not serviceable, and I couldn't get the other strand out, so basically it's dead, that. So I went upstairs and I looked at my head collection, and I found one which is 2-track, and it's from a slightly newer Elizabethan machine than this one. So I've put it in, and there you are, it works. I've got to, of course, yeah, I've got to sort that head out, make it stay in one place, but that appears to be okay. Now I'm also going to do something else here, which is that is record. I just want to see if it erases. If it does, great. If it doesn't, well, it's either something in there or something here. So now, of course, we can stop that, rewind slightly, and play. Oh dear. Doesn't erase, does it? Not to worry. The first thing we do in this situation, yeah, is have a look at the voltage on the eraser. It's the AC voltage, and what happens with most of these tape recorders, I'll just put the circuit out for you to see there. That there, the 8-foot pentode, doubles on the erase as an oscillator circuit, and if that's not working, it won't erase, let alone record. So what we do is it simply, that goes onto there like that. That goes onto plate onto AC like that. 20 volts should be all right. And now we'll see if there's anything on the back of that head. If there isn't, we go back. If there is, we go forward. It's as much as all there isn't, doesn't it? So for some reason it is not recording, not erasing, because we would have something there. And really we haven't. I'll check to see if it's DC erased, but I very much doubt it. It's not. So something wrong with the erase circuit. Now on tape recorders like this, like I said, the erase is part of the output circuit. It does both. So it's something around this valve here. Now the erase circuit here goes through this coil here, and the first thing I'm going to worry about here is where that coil is open circuit. If it is, then it's not. Then we know it's not going to erase. So it's going to be a player. But we'll check and we'll find out. So off it goes like that. And the circuit here. R1 pins 4 and 5 and R30 as well. Okay, right. So yeah. So I don't know quite which is which here, but we've got to find out at some stage. So better now than never. So let's see what it does. So again, onto onto your wrist measurements like that. I'll put that up there so hopefully you can see. Oh, you can. Well, hey. Right, and now from there we go and look at this circuit here. The capacitor off, by the way, but I don't know if that is going to be the problem. It may be, but I doubt it. And so we know that the primary is okay. We know the primary is okay because the DC voltage gets through to the valve. Again, if you look at the circuit here, the output transformer and the erase coil are in parallel, so are in series to tape recorder head on tape recorder output pentode valve, so that's okay. So really we're looking purely at the other half. So let's have a look and see what there is, shall we, and see. Four and 5 and are 20. Okay, fine. Well, let's have a look and see what we can find here. We'll find out where our 20s first of all. R20 is 470 ohms, is it? 470 ohms, yeah. So and I can't see it anywhere actually. Is it not here? It'll be a bit annoying, won't it, if it's not? Oh. You rotter, you. Oh, okay, well, fair enough. Hang on, what's this here? What's this here? Right, this. It's got rather in a mess, hasn't it? So if we go onto there like that. So that's okay, so doing nothing. That's doing nothing. It's doing even less. Okay. Right, okay. Not so sure about that, but what I'll do is I will check everything else around there first and see if anything else there comes to light. If everything else is okay here, then all it could be is the head, the coil here. If it's that, well, like I said, it's going to be a player, because I don't think I've got one of those to hand. Actually, I'm sure I haven't. So yes, but that is not very nice, that, is it? Where does it go? Where does that go? Okay. Okay. That's I'll have to look at that coil again, because I think there's something, but I'll check everything else to make sure. And also, by the way, I'm also going to put another dose of rubber renew on that and hope for the best, because that is not in a good way, which is why it did what it did before, like playing for me. So off the tape comes. Like that. And the playback circuit works okay. And so what we're looking at here now is the record circuit. And yeah. Actually, part of this could be open circuit on the primary as well. Yes, this could be a player from now on, because like I said, I doubt we've got one of those. Interesting note, by the way, these world record tapes, that's these, yeah, on the back they have the World Record Club on them, as you can see there. They don't have a copyright date on them or anything like that, and I don't know who or what made them, apart from obviously World Record Club, but they don't have a copyright date on the box, and I think therefore anyway that these can be used on tape recorder online without drawing the attention of YouTube. Anyway. There you are, that's working now. What I've done, a couple of mil was shaved off on the side of there, and that seems to put it within the parish, shall we say, on that one. So now I've got to look at why it isn't erasing, because it doesn't appear to be. Now that to me is a problem which is down to this coil here, and the coil I think is alright, but I'm not 100% sure. As I said previously, the coil is if you look, it's in series with the 8-put transformer, the valve, anode and line. It comes into pin 2, as you can see there, and it does look okay. Now if that's okay, then chances are one of these caps is a bit past its best, and this one came off, and I can't know what it is. Now I think that is C17. Now again, look at C17 there. I think it goes down to the socket here to the deck from L1. The capacitor cross as well, which is C12. Now those two, that one I think is okay, but this one came off in several pieces. So next thing we'll do is change that and see if it starts to work for us again after taking this off here. Never leave a tape on the machine. This is not when it winds that fast. Never leave a tape on the machine when you're doing work with the erase head, especially if you're not one you want to keep, because you know you can very quickly erase the tape. So it's something to look out for on that one. Anyway, so now the erase on these goes through that head there, which measures okay, and the thing on the back here marked erase, I've had that out, that's not a problem. So now we need to go a little bit further here. So is that faulty, or is it just this one? I don't really know. But first thing I'm going to do is change this one and see. Now, if you're not going to tape handle or you want to check without, then what you do in that situation is simply check the voltage here on AC on the head, because that ECL82 turns to an oscillator in your code, and it does it by feeding something back, turning it into an oscillator. Now, no oscillation, no record, and of course it's also used with the microphone or audio input, put stuff on the tape as well. So it's important, very important in fact. One thing which all engineers, new or old, should learn to do is find a fault rather than just simply change all the parts in one go. because for two reasons. One, if you do that, one component gets in the wrong place, you're chasing your house basically. Now this is the capacitor that was on the circuit just here, and it's open circuit. All capacitors are, I know, but that more so. So now if I put this to record now, like I don't know, like hang on. This is not easy with one hand, but you know, we do our best here. We do our best here, so we shall do our best. If you off a minute while I look about, because I don't want to get into any shocks. Now, AC on a head of this kind is used for erasing. It discovered that AC worked better by the Germans, by mistake actually. Yes, the Germans made mistakes. Yeah, I know. So now, of course, what you do is you switch it to record. There we are, yeah. And now, if I was to switch it on like that, as that valve comes up, in a minute, that should throw up a voltage, which as you can see it does. That wasn't there before. That's 168 volts of AC, because that's a transforming effect then. A coil is basically a transformer. A transformer is basically a coil. So we know from that now this unit will erase, if that head's working okay, and it seemed to be the tape. So that problem has now been sorted. So now we've got to look at the head assembly again and try and secure it, and then see if it'll record with a microphone as well. Because if you look at the circuit here, the microphone socket is at the end here, and the gram is further in. So if you use a gram socket, then in most cases that lets you test all the circuit, which obviously is what you want to do in this situation. Earlier on, actually, I did put a screwdriver in there. It seems to generate a buzz on the magic eye. So that is our next step, is to sort that out. Right, well now the head is in securely, and also this magic eye was dim. It's a lot brighter now. If you look at the circuit again, you find the two resistors to magic eye. In here, the triode and the bit that lights up, and both of them are fed according to the circuit by 100k resistors. They're both up at around 800k. So now, if I put it on like that now, and wait for it to warm up, look how much brighter that is now. Can you see? That is so much brighter as a result. So it wasn't the valve that was faulty at all. It was these two resistors in the battery which I've changed. So now that's sorted. But also I've noticed that there's capacitor on the tone control came apart in behind, and there's that as well. So next thing we do is change those two lovely hunt capacitors and try it again, especially now with erases. Right, well I've changed the capacitor on the volume control, on the tone control as well, and so now playback is about as good as it's going to get, I think, with this. As you'll see, yeah. There we are, that's a little bit of Pirates of Penzance there. So now it's a matter of putting the whole thing together again, stage by stage, and working on it again, whether it's in the case. Now as far as recording is concerned, it's not all that good, and that is because the head that was in this was not working, and I put in one from another machine, which is not 100% right for it, but it'll do for playback. Again, if anyone comes up with a set of heads of one of these, let me know. Okay, I really would appreciate it. So yeah, this is it, a working machine. Now of course I've got to put everything back together again and put the thing in its case, which is sometimes easy and sometimes not so easy. So we'll see on that one. We'll see. One of the most irritating faults you can get with a tape recorder is what's called the intermittent fault. Part on the bench here, you can probably hear, but if I do that, it's working fine. Put it together, put the date back in, screw it up, it doesn't. And it could be anything, it could be anything. I've checked the, well, you know, all that seems okay. So what it is something which we don't know as of yet. It could literally be anything, this. And so what I'm going to do, what I'm going to have to do here, whether I like it or not, quite frankly I don't, is look at it and think, yeah, that's it, off again, I know. That's okay. And when the fault happens, nothing comes from there at all. And I mean nothing. Now in this situation, it could be anywhere on the unit, and I mean anywhere. Quite literally. And so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to check everything again. See if anything's touching anywhere, see if any joints are loose, anything like that. And so it's going to be a tape recorder which I thought was okay, is now going to have to be looked at again. On the bench here now, it's fine. As you can hear there. That's fine. But nothing else is. So I've to put it together very carefully and see at what point it fails and where it fails. Life goes on, life goes on. When this sort of fault occurs, the thing to do, first of all, is get the screwdriver, use the inflated bit, in tap around and see what and where. You know, that's the first thing you do. Crackly a bit at the moment, I know, but I noticed that if that comes off like that, and I wonder if there's an earth missing somewhere with this. That's just one thing, because now it seems to be perfectly alright. So's that. You see, like that. Now, if I was now to, again there, that's fine. But somewhere in here, something isn't. and it's very hard to spot when you are outside and it all happens with it together. This is the worst kind of intermittent fault there is. It really is. This is the worst possible kind of intermittent fault there is. And it could literally be anything from this. Literally. Could be anything. Okay. So, what now? Oh, with this thing like that on the bench now, plug it in again. Make sure it's set to playback. It is. Yeah. That's there, okay. That's there, okay. It's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Everything appears to be okay, but we know it isn't. Now, the valves are okay because it does work, and a valve can't really go intermittent in the way that this has done. Which really does make this a bit of a troublemaker, does this. So again, we take out every bit we can and see what's happening underneath it. Ah. Okay. Yes, fine, fair enough. Yeah, okay. So, therefore, something with all this lot here. Again, what I really dread to think, but you know, obviously it is. Okay, okay. Supposing I was to find somewhere to measure the HT on one of the valves or something and see if the HT is falling off as well. I wonder. I wonder. And also I noticed that that is behind there as well. So I wonder if maybe that should be on the other side of there. Again, it could be anything, this, it could be literally anything. The set is never apart on the bench again, and I think I've found the problem. A simple fault, a man-made fault probably, but it's certainly one which led me astray. So if I switch on now, and wait for BSR to come up, which is doing now. Now, although you can't hear it on camera, the hiss is still there. And before, when I wiggled this here, it will vanish. And this capacitor here is right underneath there. And as soon as the unit that hit that, he shorted it out. Simple as that. Really, as simple as that, as far as I know. So I'm going to let it run for a while and see if anything else comes to light, because, well, something probably will. But now, I can wiggle that around and it doesn't disappear. Also, if I short this capacitor here to deck, very quickly and very naughtily, with the meter probe, does the same sort of thing. It disappears and then comes back. So it's probably that. But I'm going to have a look round and make sure there's nothing else, because it is possible. It's always possible. So with it running for a bit, we'll see if anything else comes to light. These sort of faults on tape recorders, anything electrical, only really come to light when you put the thing together. It's part of the game, and this is a game really. So anyway, at the moment it seems to be working. So now, I run that for a bit and make sure it's still working, because if it's not, there's something else. And there to the working machine again, after all this time. Playing a little bit there of Pirates of Penzance. With this one, there are quite a few things wrong with it. First of all, the head was faulty, which I've replaced. If it was got the genuine head for this, I'd be really appreciative of that, because that is not brilliant, but it does. Under here, the green light, as it were, the magic eye, resistors behind it were high, capacity changes and stuff like that, and now it's fine and working again. So there you go, another fully working machine again here in the long stay workshop, after a long time coming, this one. But yeah, I really do need the right head if possible. If you got one, please can I have it? Anyway, until next time here on the long stay workshop, take care of yourselves and each other, and keep mending stuff, even tape recorders. Bye bye. By the way, thanks very much to Jay on this, by the way, Jay's Vintage Junk, because he came up with the idea, and worked out the idea, of putting a head from deck A on deck B's machine. It's not perfect by any means, but it does work, and it can get you out of trouble. So thanks very much, Jay, for that trick, and like I said, I'll see you soon. Until then, take care, and goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him. Bye bye.